Melanie, I saw Melissa in the chat box. Melanie had made mention that she was going to want the attendees to respond in the chat box. And so we'll need to keep an eye on that for any responses for her during the presentation.
Kelly and I will watch the chat. We're pretty good at that. That.
Not an error, but it looks like it is streaming to Facebook. So I believe we're set on that.
Does appear to be connected. I did have several people email me beforehand. Yes, this is going to be live streamed on Facebook, and the recording will be available there immediately after the webinar. I know several folks had indicated that this is their lunch hour and they're going to have to pop out early. So just so everyone knows, the recording will be available immediately following the webinar on our Facebook page.
All right. I do have right at 12:15. So we're going to get started so we can give our guest speakers as much time as possible. So again, welcome and thank you all for joining us today for our webinar on using CADRE resources to support your child's self-determination skill development. We're really excited to have you join us today. So my name is Stephanie McLaughlin, and I'm the Training and Evaluation Specialist for Partners Resource Network. Partners Resource Network is the nonprofit agency that operates the Texas statewide network of parent training and information centers. We are funded through the Department of Education Office of Special Education Programs. Throughout Texas, we have 4 projects known as PACT, PATH, PIN, and TEAM. And our mission here at Partners Resource Network is to empower and support Texas families and individuals impacted by disabilities or special health care needs. Also joining us today from Partners Resource Network is our Director of Statewide Services, Christina Henning, our Support Specialist, Chelsea Rivas, and our Technology Specialist, Zach Hidalgo. If you're having any technical difficulties today, please reach out to Zach in the chat box and he can assist you with those. And for those of you that may be needing a certificate of attendance, you will be receiving an email to thank you for attending today's webinar. If you follow the link in the email, you can get a certificate of attendance. At the end of our presentation today, we're going to have a time for some question and answers. If you're joining us on Zoom, please type your questions in the Q&A box. And if you're joining us on Facebook today, please type your questions in the comments and we will get that for you. We are recording today's webinar as well as live streaming it. The recording of the webinar will be available on our website at prntexas.org and will be available on our Facebook page immediately after today's webinar. So without further ado, let me introduce our speakers and get everything turned over to them. Joining us today from CADRE is Dr. Melanie Reese. She is the director of CADRE. CADRE is the OSEP-funded National Center on Dispute Resolution in Special Education. And let me go ahead and stop sharing so Melanie can get ready to share her screen. Previously, Dr. Reese was the Idaho Department of Education Dispute Resolution Coordinator for Special Education, and she helped grow Idaho's facilitation program into a thriving and valuable option for Idaho's districts and parents. Additionally, she oversaw the state's mediation, the state complaint and due process hearing processes, and worked closely with the state's parent center and districts in building relationships to serve children with disabilities. She is Professor Emeritus at Boise State University, and she remains active in the academic community, including co-authoring 2 textbooks. Melanie was a founding member of the Boise State University's Dispute Resolution Graduate Advisory Board and is a member of the Boise State Graduate Teaching Faculty. Melanie served on the executive board of the Idaho Mediation Association. She was a college ombudsman and has been a professional mediator since 1990. She is regularly called on to present on dispute resolution issues in special education, conflict management, alternative dispute resolution processes, and hot topics in special education. Additionally, she has served has consulted for numerous organizations to improve their communication effectiveness. And also joining us today from CADRE is Kelly Rauscher. She is the Learning and Development Specialist at CADRE. She provides training and technical assistance on a full continuum of special education dispute resolution options and specializes in system design and improvement and stakeholder engagement. She also serves as a project lead for online learning modules such as the Working Together series and the Your Journey to Self-Determination series. As a parent of children who benefited from both early intervention and special education services, she is passionate about providing training and support to state education agencies, lead agencies, parent centers, districts, early intervention providers, and families as they work together and through conflict to support children and youth with special needs. Melanie, Kelly, thank you so much for joining us, and we're going to turn it over to you now.
Thank you so much for having us. We're very excited to be here. Speak on behalf of Kelly. You guys got the long version of our bios, so that was a mouthful, but now that you know everything about us, I guess we'll go ahead and get started. So we're going to talk to you about our resources, but particularly the self-determination series that we have. And you're lucky to have Kelly here because she knows all about it. She was instrumental in creating it. But we're going to start first with talking about a little bit about CADRE, what we do. We're going to examine the issue of self-determination and what it means, identifying opportunities to support student self-determination. And then I'm going to turn it over to Kelly to talk about the CADRE resources around supporting self-determination, particularly our self-determination series. So first, what is CADRE? What is it that we do? For those of you who don't know, we have a lot of resources. So since 1998, so for now 25 going on 26 years, CADRE has served as the National Technical Assistance Center for IDEA dispute resolution. And we are funded by the U.S. Department of Education's Office of Special Dispute Resolution Programs, and we serve all 50 states and territories. So we have a national footprint, but our focus and our heart is really about supporting the prevention and resolution of disputes through partnership and collaboration. And toward that end, we provide technical assistance, or TA, through developing products and delivering services to state agencies, including state departments of education and early intervention lead agencies for the little kids. We also work with OSEP funded parent centers like PRN. So that's how we got here today. But in addition, even though our main charge are the state agencies and parent centers, we also know that our materials and our work gets to you as families, as well as to educators and providers and practitioners and researchers in the general public. So we begin with the end in mind. And so that is our mission and our heart, is looking at early dispute resolution and how to help folks resolve conflicts and work through conflict and build communication and engage in healthy conversations. Today, we're going to talk about self-determination and the importance of self-determination for kids. So if you would, let's have a little bit of a conversation in the chat. When we hear the phrase self-determination, what comes to mind for you? And let's just throw out some adjectives. What does it mean? What does self-determination mean? Can get to the chat. Good. Assertiveness. Thank you, Christy. Having confidence, yes. Empowerment. Being able to make one's own decisions. Good. Typing. I hope you don't hear the leaf blower or whatever's going on outside my window, of course. Motivated. Making one's own decisions, independence. Well, I don't know if you need the rest of my slides, but I think you've got it all here. Initiative. Good, good. As we look at self-determination and we look at what the research says about it, Cody, you're right. Freedom to choose what you want to be determined about, self-discovery. As we look at the research, Field, Martin, Miller, Ward, and Wiemeyer, tough to say, gave us a definition of self-determination. They said, self-determination is a combination of skills, knowledge, and beliefs that enable a person to engage in goal-directed, self-regulated, autonomous behavior. So let's break that down just a little bit. So first, we'll talk about goal-directed. Goal-directed is about having a purpose and taking steps towards achieving an end. So we can set a goal and we can move toward that goal. All of this may mean that we have help in achieving goals or identifying a goal, but we are part of that process of setting and being part of being goal-directed. It also involves being self-regulated. Self-regulated means that we're operating with minimal intervention from others to correct course that would interrupt a disruptive pattern. So if I have a tendency to get angry about something and may have an outburst, I can correct course and go, okay, I need to calm down, I need to cope with this emotion, and I need to take a breath, and I can self-regulate to make a decision here, or to change my emotion, or to address my emotional state. And then the other element of this definition is autonomous behavior. Autonomous is self-directed or possessing free will. And that doesn't necessarily mean that others aren't involved in setting boundaries or helping us make choices, but autonomous means that we have some self-control, or we have some decision-making ability within our scope. The rest of the definition that the authors suggest is that an understanding of one's strengths and limitations, together with a belief in oneself as capable and effective, are essential to self-determination. And so it's about a mindset as well. The belief in oneself as capable and effective, as well as the ability, the skill to be goal-directed, self-regulated, and autonomous, are all part of being having self-determination. Self-determined people, they act intentionally in a positive way to influence what happens in their lives. They see the morning as another opportunity to take on the day. They can self-advocate. They know their interests, their preferences, their strengths and needs, and they can share them. They know what they want. They can set goals. They can make plans to reach those goals. And even if they need assistance, they are the captains of their own boats. They understand that while they sometimes might need support, they are the key drivers in what happens in their lives. Students who are more self-determined, according to the research, the research on this is pretty compelling. Students who are more self-determined, they take more responsibility and control over their lives. They are more motivated to achieve their goals. And they're more likely to be independent and achieve more over the course of their lives. So the idea of being and achieving a sense of self-determination in our youth is not only beneficial to them, but for those of us who care about our youth. We want them to be self-determined in order for them to be successful. So in the chat, I have a question for you. What are the challenges or obstacles that may get in the way of developing self-determination skills for students with disabilities, or for your own children with disabilities? What might be stopping you? Overprotective parents? Let's unpack that just a little bit. Not just necessarily Emily, but what is underlying overprotection? Fear of letting them fail, schools not believing in them, low confidence, low self-esteem, discrimination, fear, the way society views them, setting low expectations, fear of feeling different, lack of understanding by school staff, their age and understanding of the student. Any others? Don't want to stop you. Our culture in and of itself, yes. Lack of support and funding to provide support and services for our kids. You know, the concern of family members and caregivers and educators, you know, weighing the risk with opportunity is a constant tension for any of us who are involved with working with children or our own children. It is a constant tension, trying to figure out how much risk and how much opportunity. And the thought behind supporting self-determination in students or our own children is to make them early partners in their world. Developing skills incrementally, testing levels of independency and autonomy. It's an ongoing, lifelong process. It's not something that you do immediately. It's like, okay, well, now you're self-determined. You know, you've gone through this course. You've had a week-long lesson in self-determination. Therefore, you are now self-determined. It is something that happens over time. It is an incremental process. And so, in order to achieve the confidence and to build upon skills, it is something that happens over a course, and creating opportunities for goal setting in lower risk settings to help build confidence for greater challenges in the future is the goal. So where do we begin? The self-determination program that Kelly has been sharing is really grounded in early development of social and emotional skills, with the goals of managing emotions, having empathy for others, developing caring and concern for other people, developing relationships, the importance of seeing others as important and needing and providing for others, learning decision-making skills, and being able to handle challenges as they present themselves and not getting thrown by them. We all have challenges, and so sharing that you're going to, you are going to be faced with challenges as you get older, and you are going to have to address them is part of encouraging self-determination. So supporting student self-determination, the research in how to support student self-determination is very clear. It speaks to the importance of modeling and building awareness, bringing to attention the social and emotional skills. It speaks to providing encouraging feedback. And I want to stop here for a second and talk about the idea of feedback. It's important to not think about it as judgmental feedback, because it's really easy to give judgmental feedback like, I'm really proud of you, which is not, I'm not saying it's wrong to say you're proud of somebody, right? I'm proud of my kids, but that's not the same thing as providing feedback towards self-determination. Feedback towards self-determination is trying to encourage them to be proud of themselves, rather than having it be external to them, of getting my feedback or my pride in them, but to have them be proud of themselves. So a feedback that would encourage self-pride might be something like, wow, your decision to work on your math homework before dinner instead of after makes a lot of sense, since you weren't as tired as you were last week when you chose to work on it after dinner. So in identifying the choices that they made as being good choices for them is a way to encourage them about their choices, rather than have it be external to them. Another way to support self-determination is taking advantage of naturally occurring teachable moments and finding when they arise, capitalizing on them. Providing a space for practicing skills in a safe, low-risk environment. Home is supposed to be a low-risk environment for practicing skills. School is supposed to be a low-risk environment for practicing skills. Providing opportunities to make decisions. Make decisions a normal part of every day. Would you like a soup or sandwich for lunch? Do you want to go to the park or the playground today? Do you want to work on your math homework or your English first? you know, it's about the everyday decision making rather than forcing decisions on them, having them be partners in their decision making. And using positive language that promotes a learning and growth mindset. This is a difficult one. We often have to teach ourselves how to use positive language. You know, words that creep into our language, like phrasing things in the negative, that's not going to work, or using I love you, but this really irritates, you know, the word but often comes in, or I'm sorry, but. We have a tendency to use but a lot when we provide criticism. Using the word and may be a way to phrase something in a more positive line. That decision that you made has caused some issues for you. I wonder if there might be another way in which you could approach that. Encouraging folks, or encouraging kids to think about their options and getting them to talk about the possibilities without providing judgment, and using positive language about, well, here's an opportunity for growth. That must have been very difficult for you. Growing up is hard. Let's see if there's an opportunity for you to learn from this, providing opportunities. Students participating in educational planning. We have lots of opportunities here. And that the value includes that when we include students in their own planning, that they can learn about their strengths and their interests and their preferences and challenges. There is a lot of research and work that's done on involving students as early as possible in their own IEP meetings, even as early as kindergarten or earlier, including them at least in some small part in the process of setting goals, even small goals, and teaching them how to share their interests, strengths, preferences, and challenges. Teaching them to recognize for themselves how they have grown and be able to express how they've made progress, and to take pride for themselves in the progress that they have made. Last year, you weren't able to read 3-letter, 4-letter words. Now you can. Possibly observe others' collaborative problem solving and work with others in team decisions. And be involved in the development of a plan that is more likely to reflect their interests and preferences, strengths, and needs, rather than have one that is imposed upon them. So encouraging youth to be part of their experience is where a self-determination program is created from. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Kelly. First, I'm going to address the comment that's made in the chat. My son is graduating next year, and so conversations about furthering education, workforce entry are overwhelming for him. He always answers, I don't know, when we ask those big picture questions. Any advice? Well, maybe the questions are too big. Perhaps breaking them down into smaller questions. When it's like, what do you want to do in your future is too big of a question. Maybe the question of would you be interested in looking at some going to an auto body shop and looking at how is that an interest of yours? That's one topic question rather than a whole big question. So perhaps the questions are too big. That's just one thought. I don't know your son, but that's one thought, that maybe the questions are too overwhelming and might need to be broken down into smaller parts. That's just one thought. Kelly, I'm going to toss it to you to talk about resources.
Okay, so the plan for the time remaining is to primarily walk you through the CADRE's Your Journey to Self-Determination online learning series for youth. And if time allows, we will also share with you some additional resources that you might find helpful in supporting your students' self-determination. So in 2017-18, we had some funding from the JAMS Foundation And we collaborated with the National Technical Assistance Center on Transition, the National Center on Accessible Education Materials, and School Talks, as well as parents, teachers, and students to produce the Your Journey to Self-Determination series. This online learning series for youth was designed to support students in becoming more self-determined and engaging in their educational planning. The series includes 6 accessible, self-directed online learning courses. The courses include Your Journey to Self-Determination, Finding Your Voice, Listening for Understanding, Managing Emotions and Conflict, Collaborative Problem Solving, and Educational Planning Meetings. These 6 courses are intended to be relatively short introductions to key concepts and skills needed to support students in becoming self-determined and engaging in one's educational planning. Which means, like Melanie said, that they're not going to walk away with the skills that are needed for self-determination. It's an introduction, and so there's going to likely need to be some additional conversations, activities to support the process. It is a journey. So I think that's important to recognize. And to help the adults who are assisting students in completing the series, CADRE also developed a facilitator guide. And I see some questions around.
I'll take care of those, Kelly.
Okay, great. Because we'll probably get to some of those questions in the presentation. So the facilitator guide that I mentioned, it's also going to help students complete the series. There's background information along the lines of what Melanie has already shared with you around self-determination and social emotional skills. But there's also details about the technology that's needed, the accessibility of the materials, and accommodations that may be necessary for students to complete the series. There's information on how to get started, an overview of each course, the supplemental activities for each course that can help adults expand the students' learning and offer them opportunities to practice skills, and consideration specifically for parents are provided in call-out boxes. And then there's links to many additional resources. Each of the 6 courses includes at least 2 lessons. Many of them include at least 4. A key to success tip, a quiz, and an interactive transcript and supplemental activities. Want to go to the next slide, Melanie? Specific attention has been given to the design of the series in order to provide benefit to the many students with disabilities who are preparing to participate in their individualized education program meetings. These courses were designed specifically for 13 and 14-year-old students, including students with disabilities, who would benefit from developing the knowledge and skills needed to be self-determined. Younger and older students may also find the content and supplemental activities in the course beneficial, but adjustments might be necessary. And so as we go through some of the material, you might look at it and be like, well, it might not be exactly what I'm looking for my child, or it might not exactly work for my child, but there might be some content and activities, especially within the facilitator guide, that you might want to take and run with. So there's multiple avenues for exploring the resources and pulling out what you need from those resources. You want to go to the next,
About the target age again.
say that again?
There's a question about repeating the target age.
Oh, 13 to 14-year-old students. That's who we had in mind when we were initially developing these lessons. Okay, so accessing the series. The series can be found on CADRE's website. And Melanie, I was wondering if you could put the link in the chat. Thank you. We made a conscious effort to make this online series accessible to as many users as possible. And if you'll see at the very top, we have a link around accessibility. And so there's a lot more information in there around the details as far as what we did to address accessibility. And then if you go to the courses section, Melanie shared with you where the link is located. That's where you can access the courses. But before we proceed to the courses, I wanted to recommend that folks download some of the supplemental materials that are under the right navigation menu and downloads. There's the facilitator guide that I had mentioned, and there's also course transcripts. You'll see that there are 6 transcripts that are available, and those are interactive transcripts, and they will give you an excellent idea of what is in each of the courses and lessons. There's also keys to success for each course, and those outline, and we'll go into more detail there, but those outline some of the key messages that are part of each course and can act as sort of like a reference, or I like to call them job aids, but for students, they're just a nice reference point and reminder for the content that is included in each of the courses. When you go to the courses, you will need to create an account or login. There is a link that says register now. And so that is how, and you'll just need to provide some minimal information to sign in to the courses. Students will also need to create an account. And so some support might be needed to get them set up. Okay. To give you an example of the content that is included, we're going to take a closer look at course 2, which is on finding your voice. The lessons included in this course are self-awareness, goal setting, telling your story, creating assertive messages, and then there's a quiz at the end. And then you'll see to the right, there's one of the keys to success resources that we have, and you'll see how key concepts within that course are outlined, and then how we provide some specific information around how students can go about potentially identifying their interests, strengths, challenges, and preferences, or setting up SMART goals, creating a profile of themselves to help tell their story, and then practicing telling their story to a trusted adult or friend, and then creating assertive messages. And so each one of the courses has a tip sheet like this. To see if the modules are a good fit for your child, like I mentioned earlier, it's it might be beneficial to look at the interactive transcripts as well as the actual courses. But this gives you a really quick look where you wouldn't even have to sign in and register for the course if you wanted to see what sort of information was available. These transcripts are accessible and they could be read with a screen reader as well. So that's another way to engage with the materials if your student didn't want to go through the videos for child. So in this course transcript on a lesson on self-awareness, you'll see how the module introduces the concept of self-awareness and then how students can begin identifying their strengths, interests, preferences, and challenges. You'll also see within the transcripts what some of the graphics look like that the students will be engaging with. As we mentioned earlier, the facilitator guide includes several supplemental activities for each course. Some are pre-instruction activities. These are ones that you would engage the student with prior to the lesson, and then some post-instruction. So we'll again take a closer look at the self-awareness lesson on finding your voice. To set the stage for the lesson on self-awareness, you might want to ask your child to describe someone they admire and why they admire them. Or perhaps ask them to draw, write, or share 3 things that they like about themselves. You can also help them think about the skills they might need in middle, junior high, or high school, depending on their age. And then as natural teaching opportunities occur, help them notice and identify their strengths, challenges, and weaknesses. Challenges or weaknesses, threats and opportunities in various situations. Building upon those opportunities, help them identify their strengths, challenges, threats, and opportunities to reaching successful academic and functional achievement. Although these self-directed lessons can stand on their own, these activities can help prime for the content in the lesson. One of the post-instruction activities included within this lesson is to encourage youth to have new experiences and then to ask them about their experiences. There's an activity tied to this lesson and a worksheet in the facilitator guide to assist students in evaluating a new experience. It's also important to communicate the message that sometimes we need to experience something a few times to get a good sense of what that activity is really like, to know what we think about it. And so that's like one of the tips that you might see in the facilitator guide when going through some of these activities that are included. And so that concludes like the really quick down and dirty for the self-determination series. My contact information is on this slide, that like if you have any questions, difficulty accessing some of the material, feel free to reach out to me and I'll be happy to assist you with that. And then if we can pause right now, if there are any questions that I didn't get to that came up in the chat, Melanie. I wasn't really looking at that.
No, it was mostly about navigating to it. So, but are there any questions about the series?
I will say the questions in the chat box, the attendees don't see the questions, so they just saw your responses. And so you may just follow up with a couple of those. And so one question was, is there a cost for the course? And then how do you sign up, which I think you've covered. But there was that question, so.
Oh, they were asking specifically to the panelists. I'm sorry. So yeah, thank you. So there was a question of were there costs to the program? The answer is no. It is a completely free program. It was paid for through a federal grant, so it's a completely free to you. And then there was a question about where do you sign up? Kelly addressed that, and we provided the link in the chat. There was a question about whether it's appropriate for homeschoolers as well as public school, and it's appropriate to anybody. Although Kelly, some of the examples are, do they address IEP specifically?
Yes, so there's a section specifically on IEP meetings, a course on engaging in student IEP meetings that will go into more detail on that. And so when you look at the course content, for students that don't participate in IEP meetings, but maybe have 504 plans or something like that, you can chunk out the courses that would be meaningful for your student or child. And so there's enough flexibility in the courses that it's kind of like a menu that if you think that, well, they have this content already, they're pretty good here, but they could really use some support around engaging in their IEP meetings. Potentially, you could skip ahead to that course just on IEP meetings and engaging in those. It just kind of depends on where your child or student is at. So.
There is a comment and there's a question that does the public school teach all these things to our adults still there, like the ones in 18+ adult transitional programs? And Kelly and I would not be able to answer, particularly we're in Eugene, Oregon, and we have a kind of a national perspective. We don't know what the programs in specifically your state or local area would be. That would be something you need to check with your district.
Any other?
I don't see any other questions, Kelly.
Okay, so I'm going to share now a couple of other resources that you might be interested in. And Melanie, if you can put them in the chat, the links. We also have additional resources on our website, including a For Families landing page with some highly valued resources and frequently asked questions that get asked. And so this landing page has some really great resources that go beyond supporting your child's self-determination that you might want to check out if you're not familiar with it. Melanie shared the link on that. But I'm gonna highlight a couple of these resources in particular. So the first one, if you are looking at developing your own communication, collaborative problem solving, and conflict resolution skills, you might be particularly interested in our online interactive Working Together series. This series is for both educators and parents. The topics covered include IEP meetings, listening and responding, managing and responding to emotions, and focusing on interest to reach agreement. And as you can see, there's also a detailed facilitator guide available for this course as well. And these courses are available in Spanish. They also have the transcripts. They don't have the keys to success tip sheets, but they do have within the facilitator guide. If you want to expand your learning further, they have a number of resources that we link to that you might find valuable on any given topic. Okay. The next resource that I wanted to draw your attention to that is very popular with helping with skill development includes the Tale of Two Conversations. This is a two-part video showing a parent and a school administrator in two very different conversations, one with poor interaction and the other with improved interaction. And then accompanying these videos is a detailed study guide as well. So that might be another resource that you might be interested in. And then if you're looking for updates from CADRE and some additional resources and content around collaboration, advocacy, conflict resolution, please subscribe to our CADRE newsletter. It's one of my favorite things that we do, honestly, and disseminate for everyone. And then we also have, we're on Facebook, we have a YouTube channel and LinkedIn. And so feel free to follow us on those different platforms as well. And lastly, we would love for you to fill out a really short survey around today's training. But before we get to the evaluation piece, I really would like to open this up for any questions or thoughts that you all have. We have 15 minutes remaining, and so I'd like to open the floor to all of you to add some additional questions or thoughts in the information that was shared so far. Well, I'm not.
Looks like we answered all of their questions, Kelly. They're walking away filled. Oh, presentation overall was good, felt a little rushed. If you have any other questions that you have, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We're more than happy to provide further information for you. So please let us know. Go ahead and put the evaluation link in the chat. And with that, if there aren't any other questions, we'll go ahead and turn it back over to our PRN friends.
Thank you so much, Melanie and Kelly. Great information, and it's really fantastic series. If you're not familiar with the series or with their Working Together series, there's so much great information in those series for you. So take a look and check those out, as well as a wealth of information on their website. I'm looking to see if there are any more questions, and let me check Facebook and see if we have any questions there as we're wrapping up. I don't see any questions on Facebook. So not seeing any other questions right now. If you have questions, go ahead and continue to put those in the chat or the Q&A. I see lots of thank you for the good information. Thank you for the resources. So lots of compliments on the work that you do. And so just want to thank you again for joining us and sharing all of this information with us. And so as we're wrapping up, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again as we wrap up. All right. I just want to thank you all again for joining us today. And thank you again, Kelly and Melanie, for coming and sharing this information. We love working with CADRE. We love the resources that you have that we can share out And so thank you again. As a reminder, we did record today's webinar, and the recording will be available on our website at prntexas.org, as well as our Facebook page. If you are needing a certificate of attendance, you will be receiving an email to thank you for joining the webinar. If you joined us over Zoom, you can follow a link in that webinar to get your certificate of attendance. And so before we go into upcoming events, I want to take just a second, see if there are any other questions that we have. All right, I don't see any more. And so we do have some other webinars coming up. And so on March 5th at 12:15, we have Preparing for Higher Education. What do I need to start doing now? With Kelly Majewski from Texas A&M University Post-Secondary Programs. And then we have Empowering Parents, Practical Sensory Supports for the Home with Andrea Webb from Region 10 Education Service Center on April 9th. And then we're going to wrap up for the summer with strategies and tips to avoid the summer slide with Dr. Michelle Simmons from West Texas A&M University on May 7th. You can register for any of those through links on our website or our Facebook pages as well. And on the screen, I've got contact information for our Director of Statewide Services, Christina, our Support Specialist, Chelsea, and for myself. Please check out our website again at prntexas.org for information on upcoming webinars and events in your local regions, as well as a wealth of information for parents. You can like and follow us on Facebook and Twitter at prntexas. And so again, thank you all for joining us, and please check out those resources from CADRE.
Thank you again, everybody. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.